Hi, everyone. Welcome to panel Breaking Down Offsec Certifications as part of HacktivityCon, which is a conference built for community by the community. So today we have three amazing panelists who are all hackers with amazing offensive security certifications. I'd like to give a brief introduction of each panelist for you all to learn more about before I drive all my questions to them. So my first panelist is Rana Khalil. She got her OSCP in May 2020, and she started creating educational content on her YouTube channel. In addition to our Medium blog posts, you probably already know about them. She's very inspiring for all the students who are preparing for OSCP, which is, I believe, one of the most popular offensive security certifications. And we'll learn more about her certification process during the panel, and I'm super excited to have her here. My second and third panelists are Andrea Adruga and Monica Talikar. They are both holding three offensive security certifications, OSCP, OSWP, and OSCE, which is an amazing path to follow, I believe, to see different techniques and different fields, such as wireless hacking, binary exploitation, network hacking, and of course, much more. I know this is great because I have the same certifications and I went through the same path. So I believe it's time to introduce myself now also. I'm Busra, aka RE100. I'm an offensive security researcher. I also hold OSCP, OSWP, and OSCE. And recently I'm preparing for OSCE, which is the hardest offensive security certification I can say. And it's on advanced Windows exploitation, and I'm hoping to get it next year. So for community, I also try to share my knowledge as much as I can. I sometimes create YouTube videos to spread my knowledge. And besides my hacker hat, I'm also working at HackerOne as a senior solutions architect, and I will be moderating this panel today with these three amazing female hackers, and I will be speaking about offensive security certification with them. So I believe after this quick introduction, I can start directing some of my questions to learn more about the success and all the pro tips from these amazing hackers. And welcome again, everyone. Let's kick things off. My first question is basically introducing these amazing three hackers. And I'd like to ask first to Monica. Monica, can you please introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and how long have you been hacking?
Thank you, Bushra, for a brief introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Monica Talikar. I'm from India. Since last 2 years, I'm staying in Singapore. I'm working in a consultancy firm with more than 6 years of experience. I have experience in web, mobile, and network pen testing. Currently, I'm learning about Docker security, how to pen test Docker. I like to share knowledge, and I have conducted talks, workshop, and conducted CTF at various cybersecurity communities. The main topics of my workshop was basics of reverse engineering, web application pen testing, mobile pen testing. Yes. And apart from hacking, I like doing yoga and pursuing classical Indian music. That's it about me. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you for the introduction, Monica. So Rana, would you like to give us a brief introduction about yourself? Where are you from and how long have you been hacking?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Rana Khalil. I have been hacking for the past 3 years. I'm Palestinian Canadian, currently living in Canada. My main area of focus is web security, and that's why you see for my content creation, most of my videos are about web security related content.
Thank you, Rana. That's great. What about Andrea? Would you like to introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and how long have you been hacking?
Hey everyone, so my name is Andrea Cristina Druga and I'm based in Bucharest, Romania. I have over 6 years of experience in the security area and I also have a master's degree in IT and security. I have expertise in both defensive and offensive areas. I've worked with various tools such as CM, IDS, IPS, web filtering, antivirus, and various endpoint protection tools. However, currently I'm dedicating my time to the offensive side fully. I'm performing various security assessments ranging from pen tests to full company level IT security audits.
That's great. Three very impressive backgrounds. Thank you all. My second question is very similar to the first one, and I'd like to ask this to all panelists. How did you get into hacking? Because everybody has unique stories, I believe, and I'd like to learn more about yours. So Monica, would you like to start again?
So my journey of hacking started during my graduation days. I had a subject named as information security for one of my semester. I found the subject to be so interesting, and out of curiosity, I started learning more about it. did self-study to understand about the subject. But I still remember learning about cryptographic algorithms, web application architecture, password hashes. That moment I realized that this is what I want to do. But no wonder I scored the highest mark in this subject. Yeah, from that moment I realized that this is the career path I want to go through. But in beginning, I went through quite difficulties, like starting from searching a job on LinkedIn. At that time, during that time, we didn't have a proper designation like now that we have security analyst, security consultant. But like with hard work and few months of dedication, I landed in a cybersecurity job. Yeah, this is how I started my journey.
That's perfect. Thank you for your story, Monica. What about Rana? What's your story? How did you get into hacking?
Yeah, mine is a bit of a long story, but I'll keep it short. I was first introduced to it when I was working at a company as part of my bachelor's degree. I was on a work term and I was working as a software developer in quality assurance. And the company hired a few consultants to come in and test the security of our systems. At the time, I didn't know what that was. But when I learned what it is, I thought I advocated for quality assurance for security testing to be part of quality assurance. So I shouldn't be just testing that the app is functional. I should also be ensuring that the app does not have any security bugs. At the time, my supervisor was really supportive of that idea. And so he asked me to develop a few test cases that I could run or manually test on my own to ensure the security of the web apps that we were developing. And like I said, I was a beginner. I had no idea how to do it. So what I ended up doing is buying the Web Application Hacker's Handbook, which is considered to be the Bible of web security. I bought it, I would read it at home, and then I would apply everything that I learned at work. And that's how I was introduced to Offsec, and I've been in Offsec since then.
That's very impressive also. Very cool story. What about Andrea? How did you get into hacking?
So I've always had an interest in this area, so I just jumped right into it with the IT&C security master. And from there, about 3-4 months later, I got an internship in a security department. I was very, very happy when this happened. It was like for the first time, I knew I was on the right track on my career. I absolutely love everything there, the job, my colleagues at the time, like everything was perfect for me. So when I got the offer as a full-time engineer there in the security operations center, I was so happy. So after about 2-3 years, when I felt like that I did everything that was there to be done in the security operations center, I was like, okay, it's time for me to get to hacking. Like I really want to be a pen tester. So I applied to a pen testing position in the same company. So yeah, that's when I started doing pen tests, and that's when I jumped into OSCP. That was the beginning of my journey with this.
Very impressive, all of your stories, to be honest. And mine is very similar too. I did double major back in college with math and computer engineering, and I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna be a software developer like rest of my friends. And I met a hacker, and at the time I was applying for PhDs in the US, and I said that, you know what, I don't want to have a PhD, I will just be a hacker. And yeah, I basically started learning all about hacking, and I'm so happy. I remember I was spending all my lunch breaks just reading some assembly code of a hacker to enjoy myself. So yeah, very cool. So my next question will be for Rana. Rana, you recently get OSCP, and I'd like to learn more about your journey. Tell us a little bit how you decided to get this certificate. Is it solely based on what they cover because of its content, or is it based on the organization, offensive security that's issuing it? How did you decide to choose the first certificate?
Good question. So usually when I'm choosing a certificate, I ask myself 3 questions. The first question is, does the certificate cover the topic that I'm interested in? The second question would be, is the certificate well known in the community in a positive way? And the third question is, does the certificate have a practical component? So not just a theory component, but also a practical component that I could apply in a real world scenario. And so when I was looking for pen testing certs, I asked myself those 3 questions. And obviously the first thing that popped up was the OSCP certification by Offensive Security. And I'm glad that I did it. And then I am pursuing other certs as well that I haven't finished yet, but I applied those 3 criteria, and that's how I select my certs.
Wow, very smart, very straightforward, and fair enough. So I'd like to ask about your preparation phase. Did you prepare all by yourself, or did you get any help from people in the same industry? Or how did you prepare for OSCP?
Definitely didn't prepare all by myself. I always say in this field, you're standing on the shoulders of giants, whether you know it or not. So my primary source of preparation was obviously the course material itself after it was updated. And then secondary source was, secondary sources were a bunch of sources. So it was other platforms like HTB, THM, and so on. And then you've got YouTube videos like IPSEX videos. You've got blogs, write-ups, and so on. So, and people that you could just ask in the community. And so there was a ton of reading and a ton of learning on the side other than the course material itself. But obviously when you're studying a certificate, I always recommend that the primary source of learning would be the course material itself. And then the rest is just secondary resources that complement the primary resource.
Great points. I will get into more detail later with other questions,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that's very cool summary. Thank you. So my next question would be for Andrea. Andrea, I know that you are holding 3 offensive security certifications, and they are very important. They are all covering different fields and security. And I'd like to learn, what impact did these certifications have on your career?
Okay, so yes, like you already mentioned, I'm holding OSCP, OSCE, and OSWP. So I have gained so much knowledge from them. I have learned many new skills and a new mindset as well. So naturally, this helped me progress more and more into my career. It was no surprise that I wanted to hand down the certification, like everyone in the industry wants them. I think that they say something about you as a security professional, like that you like to try harder. And oftentimes recruiters can like reach out to you if you hold certain certifications, and they would be like very straightforward, like, hey, I noticed you are OSCP certified. Would you be interested in a pen testing positions? So besides the extremely valuable knowledge that you gain from them, you will also get like a larger number of messages from recruiters that might or might not influence your career path.
Definitely, it helps a lot, especially with the recruiters. I totally double that. All right, so my next question would be for Rana. What are some of the things that you learned through these certifications? I mean, besides the hacking and attacker mentality, for sure. Any soft skills that you learned?
Yeah, other than technical skills, a bunch of soft skills, obviously, but I think the most one, that I did learn from at least my journey through OSCP, which is the only cert that I hold currently, is that nothing is beyond your learning capabilities. When I come from an academic background, so I have a bachelor's and a master's in computer science and mathematics. And usually when you're given a test through your university or through school or whatnot, you're expected to have been taught all the material that you're tested on. So, you're either given lectures or a book or so on. And that material will appear in the exam. And so I approached the OSCP the first time around in that mentality. And that was completely destroyed in only a couple of days, where I realized you can't expect to learn everything through only the course material itself. You can't learn hacking through only, a book or a step-by-step guide. You had to be able to Google things. You had to be able to refer to other resources and so on. And that was really personally beneficial to me because it removed the bad habit for me where I would ask for training, or I would ask for a book, or I would ask for a video to teach me something instead of having to learn it on my own. And I think that was, even more than the technical material itself, I think that was the most beneficial thing that I gained from the OSCP certification, which is the ability to kind of depend on my own and be able to learn things on the fly. And that nothing is really beyond my capability. It's just really a matter of time, energy, and then, resources in terms of like, being surrounded by people that you can ask for help when you get stuck. And I think that would be the most important soft skill that I learned through my journey when I was doing that certification.
I totally agree with you. I think we learn how to learn during the certification process instead of just spoon-fed.
Exactly.
Very cool. Thank you for your answer. I'd like to ask another question to Monica. I know that, again, you are holding 3 certificates, OSCP, OSWP, and OSCE. Do you think the certificate was outdated? What do you think about the content?
I'll keep this answer short because, yeah. So most of the offensive security courses are up to date, but according to few forum, it was said that OSC techniques taught in OSC is a bit outdated. But according to me, like I think this technique can be modified a bit and still can be used for further learnings. So now that OSC is retired, I think most of the certifications are up to date.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, it's basically teaching you the baseline of it and you're just adding something on it. I totally agree. Perfect. Another question for Andrea. So do you think certificates will be helpful for those interested in bug bounty or pen testing?
Of course, always. So I think that every material that brings new knowledge is always helpful. Like whether we're talking about a course, like a lab, a training, a video, or an article. So I want to emphasize here, however, the fact that I think that you can be a very skilled security professional without holding any certification. Like this is definitely not a requirement, but sure, it's nice to have, and but it's not a must-have. So, however, the amount of knowledge that you can gain from a course, from like aiming towards a certification such as OSCP, is huge. So I remember when I first started off in my pen testing career, the first thing I did was sign up for OSCP. Like I knew it would help me gain the skills necessary for my bug bounty hunting and pen testing. So like it took me step by step and made me realize that there are multiple possibilities of exploiting a machine, that I need to look into every corner, each service, and to like never give up and to always try harder. So yeah, starting off my career as a pen tester with OSCP was like the best decision that I ever made.
Definitely. I can just double that. I totally agree with you. Another question very similar to that, but I'd like to ask this to Monica. Do you think a certificate is necessary to be a pen tester?
According to me, I think to be a pen tester, two things are most important. First is knowledge, and second is curiosity. I think curiosity can come from within, but knowledge can be gained via doing a certification, playing CTF, doing bug bounty, reading blogs, or attending a workshop or a talk in a conference. But at times when I'm doing web application testing or mobile pen testing, any kind of pen testing, and I am like stuck in exploiting a kind of vulnerability, I do refer publicly disclosed bugs available on Hacktivity HackerOne. This really helps me to enhance my pen testing skills. Otherwise, likewise, I do conduct a workshop. If I want to learn something new, I do conduct a workshop. In the process of constructing the whole workshop, I get a better understanding of the concept very well. But personally, for me, I think offensive security courses has helped me a lot to be a better pen tester actually.
I totally agree. And I'd like to ask, what are some of the challenges that you had to overcome while you're preparing for these certifications, like time management, learning path, anything that you can share with us?
Yes. For me, every certification has its own journey and a set of challenges associated with it. So here I like to give example like for my every certification. For like OSCP, it was quite difficult to manage time with a full-time job. So in order to manage all these things, I manage the time in such a way that on weekdays I'll spend around 2 to 3 hours, and on weekends I'll spend around 5 to 6 hours, and I made it strict in such a way that I have to complete this. Yeah, other set of challenge was like the feeling of giving up. At times when I was stuck on various machine for quite number of days, uh, but yeah, it was very difficult feeling of like giving up. Other challenge was while doing OSWE. This was my longer journey of about 9 to 10 months, and I cleared the certification on my third attempt. So, but my dedication, hard work, and patience and try harder motto kept me going.
Yeah, I can totally create this picture in my head, because when I was getting OIC, I remember I was only sleeping 4 hours per day and I was preparing 8 hours per day for the certification. So it was like crazy, but at the same time, it was the best time of my life. So we're all crazy being a hacker, I guess. So my next question would be for Andrea. So how long did you prepare for all these certifications? OSCP, OSWP, and OSCE. There are 3 certifications. They take years to get these certifications, people say. How long did you spend time on these?
So I had 3 months for OSCP and 1 month for OSCE and a few weeks for OSWP. I have invested around 8 hours a day for them. I wouldn't go to bed unless I was happy with my work and effort that day. So because I had just started with pen testing a few months prior, I had to prove myself. So I thought to myself that if I gain these certifications, then it's good. It means I did it and that I was made for this. The great thing about the offensive security materials is that they come with both PDFs and videos. So it like never really gets boring. You are watching the videos, you are reading the PDFs and doing alongside on your machine. And suddenly everything is so much easier to understand and you don't even realize when a few hours have passed by. So basically the labs are your playground and the machines are there for you to compromise them. So for myself, it was like a really great achievement when I have routed all the machines from the OSCP lab. So this is why I stayed 3 months. Like I wanted to make sure that I'm understanding everything while still going to my full-time job. So if you don't have a full-time job, I believe 1 or 2 months would suffice as well.
It's very impressive how much time you spend on these. Really kudos to you. So my next question would be for Rana. How did you practice for the exams? I mean, what external resources did you use? I know that you mentioned already THM, Hack the Box, but can you give us more details about this? And I'm sure that a lot of people are looking forward to hear this, as I know that OSCP is very popular in the industry.
Mm-hmm. So definitely did not take me 1 or 2 months to prepare for the OSCP. It took me quite a while. It was the first time I was introduced to pen testing. So I had AppSec experience, but I had 0 experience in pen testing. So when I first enrolled in the OSCP itself, I had run Nmap maybe a handful of times. And for those of you that enrolled in the previous version of the OSCP know that, you're pretty much doomed at this point. And so when I first enrolled in it, I had a really, really, really difficult time with the material. I had a really difficult time with the videos. I had a really difficult time with the labs and so on. My lab time expired and I promised myself I won't go back to the labs until I feel like I'm fully prepared for the exam itself, not even, just the labs. And this is when I started, looking for secondary resources to prepare for the OSCP. And one of the main secondary resources that I prepared, that I used for preparation was Hack the Box, so HTB. TJ Null has a list of OSCP-like HTB boxes that are similar to the boxes in the OSCP labs and the OSCP exam. And so I promised that I will do a majority of those boxes before I go back into the OSCP labs. And I managed to finish all of them, before that list got updated after I did the exam, but I managed to do all of them. I would spend maybe 3 to 4 hours after work every day, and then full weekends just working on those boxes. And while I did that, I would make notes. I would say, today I encountered port 80 and this is what I tried. Today I encountered, port so and so, and this is what I tried, until I came up with like a full list of things and attack vectors that I would try if I ever encountered so and so services. And yeah, so once I was done with TJ Null's list, I felt confident enough to go back into the labs. I enrolled in a 1-month subscription, so I extended my time for 1 month. I was able to compromise a large portion of the machines during that 1 month and finish the updated material in about 2 weeks, and write the report, which was just like 200 pages long by the end of it for the updated material. And so I felt prepared to go into the exam, although I haven't finished all the boxes in the labs. And once I did that, I went into the exam and I passed it. And as part of the journey for those of you, most of you that do know me from my Git book. So I have a Git book that is published, and it contains all the write-ups for all the boxes. I personally wrote them in a way that I, focused on enumeration, which is how I see that try harder mentality, which is just enumerate more, try different things. And yeah, I hope, other people have found it useful, and I hope other people who do encounter it for the first time find it useful in terms of preparation for the OSCP. So that was my main secondary source of preparation. Other than that, like I said, there's IPSEC's videos. Those videos are a gold mine. I think I watched them on repeat and multiple times each video. And then just in general, the people that are around you, the people that are online that are willing to help you, and so on. So just making sure that you're not, you're comfortable asking questions, and that no question is stupid, because you're on this journey and you're going to have to ask that question whether now or later, and and it's better to ask it now than, further along your career. And yeah, that's how I prepared.
Thank you for all these pro tips. They're so valuable, and I'm sure that it will really be helpful for all these people that are preparing for OSCP. And it's very impressive how you prepared, and I know your content out there. It's so valuable. So all these people that are preparing for OSCP, go check her material. It's incredible. And thank you for all the pro tips, Rana. And my next question would be for Andrea again. Andrea, what's your advice for someone who is trying to get a few of these certifications, because you're already holding 3 of them and you went through very impressive preparation yourself? So what's your advice for people out there who are trying to get them?
Go for it. I would actually say jump straight into it, like don't wait. Just make sure that you have some general security knowledge. For example, that you are aware of the common vulnerabilities that are out there. For example, the OWASP top 10, make sure you are reading first some security testing guides as well, so that you can get a feel of what you are going to expect during your journey towards the offensive security certification of your choice. So just set up a goal and go for it. If you want, for example, to jump straight into OSCP, then of course the materials and the labs are very, very useful. So don't worry, they are more than sufficient in order to pass the exam. If you want to prepare first, there are lots of free, high quality training resources, like we've already mentioned. Like, for example, if you're looking into exploiting machines, then VulnHub and Hack the Box are really great resources. Of course, you can always search on the internet if you want to gain additional knowledge. Like, if you get stuck at some point, I'm pretty sure you will find a blog article that covers it. So yeah, that's it.
Again, great pro tips. Thank you so much, Andrea. Monica, my next question would be for you. Do you think prior knowledge is needed to prepare for all these certifications?
Of course, prior knowledge is required before signing up for any courses. Here, I like to give one example how I prepared. While I was doing OSCP, I got comfortable with Linux and networking skills, and learned to write Bash script and Python script, and solved various vulnerable machine available on VulnHub to get an approach of the labs. And while I was doing OSC, I got well versed with reverse engineering and shell coding. I also solved various vulnerable binaries like one server and exploits available on ExploitDB. This really helped me to solve the registration challenge before signing up for the course. But while I was doing OSWE, I got well versed with debuggers like DNSpy, VS Code, and also Python script is most important in OSW, as you have to keep on scripting everything. So I did well versed with also Python scripting. So according to me, I think if you are going with any courses, understand the prerequisite or the syllabus and go through as many as resources available online.
I totally agree. Like I said, I'm preparing for OSCE now. I know there's an advanced certification, but I'm preparing for it for 4 months, I guess, and I'm still not ready. I didn't get the lab material yet. I'm just trying to feel comfortable. So I guess it applies to some of the certificates, especially if they're beginner certificates. Maybe you don't need a lot of knowledge. Maybe it's enough for you to go through the syllabus, but for more advanced ones, probably it's needed. Yeah, totally agree with you. Perfect. So I have one more question. That's for Rana. Rana, what certifications do you recommend for folks who are interested in web hacking or pen testing?
All right, so let's start off with web hacking. I think the most amazing free resource, and whether it's free or paid, it's still an amazing resource. The most amazing resource there is the Web Security Academy by Port Swigger. I remember when I first encountered it, I couldn't believe, one, that it's free, and I couldn't believe that existed, because I'm a huge fan of the Web Application Hackers Handbook, and it's the same authors that authored the Academy, except this time around it's more practical and has exercises. I remember when I encountered it, I thought that the only thing that is missing in that learning resource or learning platform was videos. So verbal explanation, and that's why I personally decided to do videos for the Web Security Academy, and my videos got integrated in the Academy itself. So for web hacking, this is the one resource, fundamental resource that I would recommend. And then if you want to level up, I would recommend the OSWE, and that's more source code review. I'm personally doing that cert and hope to be done with it either end of this year or next year. I've been slacking off on it because of the YouTube videos, but I do hope to finish it either this year or next year. In terms of pen testing, obviously there's the OSCP, which I highly recommend because I've personally done it and it's really benefited me. But there's also another cert that recently came up by TCM Academy. So it's called the PMPT. I do not remember what that stands for. I think it's Practical Network Penetration Tester or something along those lines. So when I was studying for the OSCP, I did take the Cyber Mentors courses. So that's what TCM stands for. Yes, that's what TCM stands for. And I was doing it in my head. I found those courses to be really useful. In fact, I would always recommend doing those courses as preparation before the OSCP. So, there's the PMPT, the OSCP, and there's one more that I would really, really recommend by Pentester Academy, which is Attacking and Defending Active Directory, another cert that I'm doing. And that cert is more on the Active Directory side, which most organizations use. And it's usually not covered very extensively in other certifications. And so I always recommend getting that cert as well if you're interested in more network pen testing versus web app pen testing. And yeah, those are the certs that I would recommend. I'm sure there's much more, but those are the ones that I personally have experience in. And so I would personally recommend.
Thank you for all the pro tips. I'm sure that they're so valuable, and I'm sure that people will start checking these certifications after hearing you. So that will be all the questions that I have for today. And thank you so much all for all the answers and the great conversation that we had today. I believe this will inspire a lot of people out there who are trying to go through the same path or trying to achieve these same certifications. And as HackerOne says, together we hit harder. And I'd like to also thank Offensive Security and HackerOne, who sponsored this panel, so that our stories can reach out to our community. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.